The night hung heavy with an unsettling stillness as I sat alone in the dimly lit living room. The clock on the wall ticked away the seconds, each one echoing in the silence that enveloped the house. My family had left for a weekend getaway, leaving me behind due to a pressing work commitment. The solitude, initially a welcome break, now weighed on me like a suffocating shroud. I tried to immerse myself in my work, the soft glow of the computer screen casting an eerie pallor on the room. The familiar hum of the refrigerator and occasional creaks of the old house were the only sounds that broke the oppressive silence. As the hours passed, the darkness outside seemed to seep into the room, casting long shadows that danced along the walls. A sudden chill gripped the air, and I shivered involuntarily, the feeling of being watched lingering at the edges of my consciousness. I dismissed it as mere imagination, a byproduct of the isolation. However, a nagging sense of unease settled in the pit of my stomach, refusing to be ignored. I decided to take a break, hoping a change of scenery would dispel the creeping anxiety. I made my way to the kitchen, the cold tile sending a shiver up my spine. I opened the refrigerator, its dim light revealing a sparse collection of leftovers. As I reached for a snack, a flicker of movement caught my eye. I froze, my hand suspended in midair. In the dim light, I could barely make out the silhouette of a figure standing in the doorway. Panic surged through me as I strained to see more clearly, but the figure remained shrouded in darkness. My heart pounded in my chest, and I called out, "Who's there?" No response. The figure seemed to dissipate into the shadows, leaving me standing alone in the cold kitchen. I told myself it was a trick of the light, a play of shadows and fatigue on my senses. Yet, the unease that had settled in my gut now clawed at my mind. I returned to my work, trying to shake off the lingering sense of dread. The night outside pressed against the windows like a malevolent force, and the creaks of the old house took on a more ominous tone. I convinced myself that the solitude was playing tricks on my mind, that I was merely a victim of my own imagination. But then, the whispers began. Soft, indistinct murmurs echoed through the house, like the hushed conversations of unseen phantoms. I strained to make out the words, but they eluded me, lingering just beyond the threshold of comprehension. The air grew heavy with an unseen presence, and the temperature in the room plummeted, as if the very essence of the night had invaded my sanctuary. I retreated to the living room, the glow of the computer screen providing a feeble sanctuary against the encroaching darkness. I could feel eyes on me, an unseen gaze that bore into the depths of my solitude. I turned around, half expecting to see the figure from the kitchen, but the room was empty. An inexplicable fear gripped me, and I hesitated to venture into the hallway leading to the bedrooms. The shadows seemed to congeal into malevolent shapes, and the air pulsated with an otherworldly energy. I dismissed it as paranoia, a byproduct of being alone in the eerie quiet of the house. As the clock struck midnight, the whispers intensified. They coalesced into a chorus of spectral voices, their cadence rising and falling like an unholy symphony. I covered my ears, trying to block out the haunting sounds, but they penetrated my very being, wrapping around me like an unseen force. I decided to call a friend, someone to dispel the suffocating isolation that now clung to me. I fumbled for my phone, fingers trembling as I dialed the number. The ring echoed through the silent house, a lifeline in the abyss of the night. But there was no answer. The whispers grew louder, their ethereal voices intertwining with my own thoughts. Doubt and fear crept in, a toxic cocktail that clouded my judgment. I paced the living room, the walls closing in on me, the very air charged with a malevolent energy. In a moment of irrational desperation, I decided to leave the house. I grabbed my coat, my footsteps echoing in the hallway as I made my way to the front door. As I reached for the doorknob, a voice, soft yet laden with ominous intent, whispered in my ear. "Stay." I recoiled, my heart pounding in my chest. The voice seemed to emanate from the very walls, a disembodied presence that sought to ensnare me in the confines of the house. I hesitated, torn between the inexplicable dread that gripped me and the instinct to flee. I chose to stay. The house seemed to exhale a sigh of approval, the whispers diminishing into an eerie silence. I returned to the living room, the weight of the decision settling on my shoulders like an invisible burden. The computer screen flickered, its glow casting elongated shadows that seemed to dance with a life of their own. As I sat in the dim room, the air thick with an unsettling calm, I realized that I was not alone. The house, the very essence of the night, had become a silent witness to my descent into the unknown. The whispers, now subdued, lingered in the air, a reminder that the solitude had unlocked a doorway to something beyond comprehension. The night wore on, a tapestry of shadows and unseen phantoms. I became a prisoner of the house, entwined in a dance with the spectral forces that had claimed it as their own. The clock on the wall ticked away, each second echoing through the silent corridors. As the first light of dawn seeped through the windows, I felt a sense of release. The whispers receded, the malevolent shadows retreating into the recesses of the house. I stumbled out into the weak sunlight, the solitude that had once been my refuge now a haunting memory. The house stood silent, as if exhaling a sigh of relief. I looked back, half expecting to see the figure from the kitchen, the unseen phantoms that had tormented my night. But the house remained still, its secrets locked away in the depths of its walls. I walked away, the echoes of the night clinging to me like a spectral residue. The fear, the whispers, the inexplicable sense of being watched, they lingered, a chilling reminder that the solitude had unleashed something beyond the understanding of the living. As I glanced back at the house one last time, I couldn't shake the feeling that it was not empty. The solitude had given voice to the unknown, and the whispers would forever linger in the quiet corners of my mind.